once he is elected, the following 4 years, between 2020 and 2024.
It's going to be like
buckle up, baby. It's going to be the best. It's going to be the best 4 years of our lives. I mean, seriously. Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, the lovely Leah and Michelle.
It keeps going down.
Your
My
seat's
seat
shrinking.
It keeps dropping on me.
Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts.
Any of that
hasn't happened yet. Once Trump has that seat in lock, and the Republicans have their House seats in lock, because I don't think he wants to, mess with that. Once he is elected, the following 4 years, between 2020 and 2024.
It's going to be like
buckle up, baby. It's going to be the best. It's going to be the best 4 years of our lives. I mean, seriously. And so this is
take it to the bank.
You heard it here
your
first.
Gold and silver.
And it's all because these people, they're like a rabid dog that can't control themselves. It's like they're so possessed by Satan.
It is a rabid dog.
They're like,
they're going to be put
I
down.
can't. They don't know. They're like,
themselves.
I can't stop myself. I can't stop myself.
Well, and here's the thing.
They probably go home and they're like, and they probably get in their cars and they're like, stop it. Stop it. We're
enough
kill
regular
ourselves.
Republican type people, Christian people, right-leaning people don't like Trump enough that if there was a sane Democrat, they might vote for him.
Sure.
What we're going to see, I think, between what happened to Clinton was he actually came out relatively unscathed and almost became a hero of some sort of folklore. He went his first 4 years, everybody hated him. Even Democrats did not like him. He did not like his moral standing, knew that he had paid off Paula Jones, knew that he had these horrible affairs, knew that he was just a downright stinking, awful human being. So what we're seeing play out with Clinton, what we're seeing play out with Trump is very similar to what we saw play out with Clinton. There's a major difference in that Christianity has gotten into the body and is beginning to kill off the viruses one by one, little by little.
I know.
And sometimes it takes a long time for the medicine to begin to work, but then you begin to see the body begins to repair itself and heal itself. And as Trump has let in these Christians and he has let in these pastors and he's being asked to be prayed for, and he's sitting down with these young Black Americans, he's sitting down with Latinos, he's sitting down with anybody who wants to talk to him. He's even like helping out a Kim Kardashian, get women out of that woman out of jail who was shouldn't have been there for that long,
right?
And we just keep seeing. So if I could just encourage you all to hang on, hold on one more year.
I think the rest of this year is going to be great, though. I mean, this from today until
I know, but like really, the election,
right,
is really going to just be all. You can here's the thing: you can only battle for so long. I mean, you get battle weary, you get tired. We've been hearing that some Republicans are tired of fighting for Trump, and I understand it's a very tiring work. You just kind of want to wake up and you play with your kids.
It's
do your
4
job
years,
and go home.
Here's the thing: as far as the representatives are concerned, whether it's the House or the Senate, they want to do their job. Like a lot of them. Okay, give her some of them. We'll say some. I'm thinking of like Jordan and Massey and Paul and stuff like that. All right, they want to actually do a job, but they can't because they're so busy having to fight the Democrats just to protect the president. And what you're trying to say is, let's get to 2020. Trump will be elected, and then we can stop fighting. They can stop fighting. They can start doing their job.
Wall funding, budgets, crackdown on illegal immigration, everything that Trump wanted to do. He has judges that are being appointed, hundreds of them. So that the judiciary is changing. He's going to have a Supreme Court nominee in. Ruth Bader Ginsburg has pancreatic cancer. God forbid, I don't want her to die because I know she's going to go to hell. So I want her to come to know Jesus. So I don't want anybody to die who doesn't know Jesus. But she's not going to be around for another 4 years. It's just not going to happen. I don't think. But I want to get out of here. Lying ship star witness Alexander Vidman is tied to the Ukrainian arms deals, Ukrainian oil, gas, and the Atlantic Council. This guy right here. And his Patriot Gallery told me, I've not been able to confirm this, but she told me that he has a twin who's also in the government who is trying to get him not to get in trouble because he was Biden's, from what I understand, Biden's point man in the Ukraine. He's the leaker. You're kidding, right? So there's this low-level guy named Eric, like 20-something soy boy, who was the initial leaker to Adam Schiff. He puts him in touch with this guy.
Here. Let me show this to the people. Let's go.
Oh, there he is.
To the
the twin.
So, this is actually on Fox News, and I'm hoping nothing starts to play on me because they do that. Vindman's identical twin may be called to testify. The identical twin brother of Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, a National Security Council official who shared before House committees this week, has concerns about President Trump's July phone call with his Ukrainian counterpart, may also be called to testify. Colonel Vindman allegedly told impeachment investigators that his sibling, Armit Lieutenant Colonel Yevgeny Vindman, an NSC lawyer handling ethics issues, had witnessed the decision to move the call's transcript to a top secret server. House committees have contacted his lawyer, although no decision has been made, according to a person briefed on the outreach. It says that the twin didn't listen in on the phone call. Let's see. He was allegedly present when his brother, at the direction of superiors, reported the call to the NSC's general counsel, Eisenberg, according to a person familiar with Vindman's testimony. He allegedly reported his concerns to Eisenberg in person at the NSC shortly after the Trump-Zelensky phone call took place. During that meeting, Alexander, the main guy, read the notes he took while listening in on the leader's call in his capacity as director of Ukraine policy and expressed his concern. So that's confirmation for what Patriot Gallery said.
Yes, thank you, Patriot Gallery. But this guy, you guys, is tied to the Ukraine. I believe he is. He's of foreign. I don't want to say he is. I know he's something. I mean, with a name like that, I don't want to say he is Ukrainian, but he does know. Look that on up. I think he is Ukrainian. He knows Russian and Ukrainian. All right, so Colonel Alexander Vindman was a witness in Adam Schiff's basement chamber of secrets, during which on Tuesday, Colonel Vindman admitted he shared the readouts of President Trump's call with Ukrainian President Zelensky with several other secret operatives. When Representative Jim Jordan asked him who he shared the readouts with, Representative Adam Schiff shut down the questioning. That was another thing that happened. Representative Adam Schiff was telling witnesses not to answer things. Fox News investigator reporter Catherine Hydridge,
he's Ukrainian.
He is Ukrainian. He is Ukrainian. Reported that Colonel Vindman may have violated. He's in on all this crazy stuff. I'm telling you, he's one of them. He doesn't want to be investigated. He knows he's tied to all this stuff. The oil, everything, Burisma, he's tied to it all. So this is why it's so bad.
All right, let me give you a little Wikipedia here. So, Alexander Semyon Vindman.
Why don't you bring it up for them to see?
And his twin brother. Okay.
Oh, no. Here come the Jews.
Yes, exactly. I was about to get to that. Were born to a Jewish family in the Ukrainian SSR Soviet Union. After the death of their mother, the 3-year-old twins and their older brother, Leonid, were brought to New York in December of 1979 by their father, Simon. They grew up in Brooklyn's Little Odessa neighborhood. A photograph of the twins with their maternal grandmother briefly appears in the Ken Burns documentary, The Statue of Liberty. That's interesting. He speaks fluent Russian and Ukrainian. He graduated from State University of New York at Binghamton with a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1998. He received a commission into the Army's infantry branch in 99. He later received a Master of Arts degrees from Harvard in Russian, Eastern European, and Central Asian Studies. So
he is in on all this stuff, is what I'm trying to tell you guys. He's not a whistleblower. He's not a leaker even. He's a criminal. Vindman also admitted during his testimony that he tampered with and tried but failed to alter the transcript of President Trump's call to the Ukrainian president. Yesterday, Gateway Pundit, the day before, tied Vindman to Obama's former Russian ambassador, Michael McFaul, who spoke out in support of Vindman. The fact that Vindman is connected to McFaul is alarming. McFaul was one of the first to attack President Trump's attorney and former Rudy Giuliani for investigating Iranian corruption involved in the Russian collusion scam. During his work, Rudy identified the crimes committed by the Bidens in their pay-for-play scam in the Ukraine. McFaul is no stranger to controversy or corruption, as it goes without saying. He was Obama's ambassador to Russia, for example. McFaul has a storied past.
Storied
Past.
Storied.
Storied.
Oh, storied. Okay. All right. Storied. You're right. It should be sorted.
We'll sort that out later. D. Maney wrote at Politics Central that McFaul was one of the first individuals to discuss the never verified Russian hack of the DNC. There is a June 14, 2016 article on Politico written by Daniel Strauss entitled Russian Government Hackers Broke into the DNC Servers, Stole Trump Oppo. The hackers had access to the information for approximately 1 year. And that article, Strauss includes a comment attributed to Michael McFaul. Michael McFaul, who served as U.S. Ambassador to Russia from 2012 to 2014, called the hack meddling in our personal affairs. I am sure they intended to do this without being caught. They wanted blah, 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 blah. He added Russia has a tremendous capabilities. Remember, this is the ambassador to Russia. First, such an odd choice from whom to seek comment. What qualifications or expertise render McFaul an authority on matters such as Russian hacking? A search for Michael McFaul's history shows he served as U.S. Ambassador to Russia 2 years prior to the Political article. And what's more, he previously made the news because Obama assigned McFaul to be ambassador without having any prior diplomatic skills to a major country like Russia. Maney goes on to state that soon after McFaul was appointed ambassador to Russia, he was visited by a number of communist leaders from Russia at the U.S. Embassy. Perhaps the most shocking observation of McFaul is related to his invitation in front of Congress at a Foreign Affairs Committee. Pictures of the event are telling, not necessarily because of McFaul, but rather because of the individual who was sitting behind Natalia Vasilskaya. He was sitting... Natalia was the woman who set up Donald Trump Jr. in the building.
So it's all tied together.
So McFaul's congressional hearing occurred 8 days after the now famous Russian attorney Natalia Vasilskaya, I can never say her name, meeting with Donald Trump Jr. This meeting resulted in Jr. being interrogated by the House for hours. What is more shocking is that
Vasilnitskaya.
Thank you. Met with the Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson, Fusion GPS founder Glenn Simpson, before and after her meeting with Donald Jr.
So Wolf Robinson says that Natalie Vasilnitskaya was sitting behind him in the hearing.
I can't speak. I go so fast.
So our cousin Tim says this is the Dem revenge in action, and he thinks that the courts will see it that way.
So we have everybody is connected with everybody, and you've noticed that all these players are somehow all connected. Natalia, this guy shows up. Vindman, we don't know who. How are we supposed to keep?
Vindman.
How are we supposed to keep track of all these people, anyways?
That's a very good question.
You know what I mean? All these shifty characters. Peter Strzok. Now, to add insult to injury and craziness to the crazy, you've got another person out there who,
So I want to remember these names because his twin brother's name is Yevgeny. Alexander and Yevgeny.
I think you should do it like that. Why didn't we do I should have been doing the whole article like that. Oh my gosh. You're absolutely right. And then you see, why would you just gotta say Natalia Vasilnitskaya? When you say it, it's so much better when you can say it like that.
So Gonzalez says, I hear Lindsey Graham is also involved in the Ukraine corruption. Lindsey Graham is corrupt
that he is too, and
in areas, and I think
all talk and no action.
Yes.
And then I don't know how to say.
Oh, and Kelly says to watch Eric and Kelly say to watch the Glenn Beck chalkboard on Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah. Senior national security official who was on Trump-Zelensky phone call. Destroy shift testifies, I was not concerned that and he's not Ukrainian. I was not concerned that anything illegal was discussed. We talked about this. Tim Morrison right here, former Trump National Security Advisor, arrives on Capitol Hill to testify. He said nothing happened. Bada bing, bada boom, done.
I know. Now, in that earlier interview we were watching, and the guy was talking about how the Dems were looked like they were sucking on sour lemons. I think it's because there are these contradictory testimonies.
All right, so then we have the first whistleblower, the little soy boy, right? Is supposedly, his name's not out, but everybody knows who he is, okay? He's not supposed to be known yet.
It's on my nose.
I don't know, but it was like a pen mark or something. Now I got it. All right, Carmelia.
Was it there, or did she really just want to poke my nose like 7 times?
This could be earth-shattering. No wonder lying Adam shit this from the Gateway Pundit. And his Democrat cohorts don't want their suspected whistleblower, Eric
Ciaramella
outed to the public. This is because they all know that Ciaramella was in President Trump's White House, and his purpose was specifically to spy on the Trump administration. Dan Bongino put all this together in his podcast, and we're going to play around the 10-minute... No.
Right as we're starting to get to the bottom of this deep conspiracy, it's not a theory, it happened. We have Chalupa's emails.
Chalupa? You're making me hungry for Taco Bell, man.
Of an illicit deal with the Ukrainians that never happened. And these suckers, these pathetic jokes of human beings, these media...
Okay, Dan. That goes up there.
Story for idiots in human history.
Well, that sounds so much better.
Now, just in case you think Chalupa, working with the Ukrainians after leaving the DNC to go attack Paul Manafort and the Trump camp, worked for Peter Strzok.
Let's see. Here we go. Let's try this. We're going to start here.
This isn't a joke.
This isn't a joke.
These are real texts. And they're talking about sending a CI guy, quote, and they're worried about Charlie or the outing of Charlie or sending Charlie back. And I've asked repeatedly, who is Charlie? Why are they so concerned about Charlie being outed? Katie's husband, by the way, is what we believe to be a clear reference to Mike Pence's chief of staff at the time, whose wife, Katie, worked for Peter Strzok. So just to be clear, they're talking about leveraging a relationship they have in the FBI with an employee, Katie, whose husband works in Pence's White House, to develop sources in the White House. And they're also concerned about the potential outing of a source, the CI guy, who we believe is this infamous Charlie. Now, I had always thought the CI guy was the counterintelligence guy.
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder if the CI guy is a confidential informant. In other words, not an FBI employee.
Okay.
We good?
Mm-hmm. We're good.
Who's the spy in the White House? Is Charlie the spy? And what the hell is the FBI doing working on spying on an active White House? Let's leave that one there for a moment. Let's go to Paul Sperry's terrific Real Clear Investigations piece. He does great work, by the way, and his piece will be in the show notes, dated yesterday. Folks, listen, you know, we bombshell, whatever, explosive. Listen, adjectives are meaningless these days because everything's a bombshell. It really is. This was an explosive report. It'll be in the show notes today. Please sign up for my newsletter at Bongino.com and read this whole piece. It is worth your time. This thing blew up last night on the Hannity Show. Paul Sperry, Real Clear Investigations. Headline: The Beltway's whistleblower Fuhrer obsesses over one name. This piece is essentially an outing of what Sperry believes to be the whistleblower. Again, I'm not being a jerk. I'm just saying, heard this is probably old news. Well, it's not old. If you listen to my show, it is old news for you.
Yeah, it is.
We've got pretty good sources here. Go read Spygate, my first book. You'll act like it was written yesterday. You'll be like, gosh, you wrote this 3 years ago? Yeah, we did. Inside the piece, there's a fascinating exchange that one of my other sources, the 279er, found really interesting from the Paul Sperry piece. Throw that up. My wife was kind enough to highlight this for me after it's sent over by our buddy. Quote from Paul Sperry's piece. Further, Ciaramella, and he has it here clearly. Let me say for those who are on the audio file only. We highlighted the part where Paul Sperry literally puts in the piece, in parentheses, the pronunciation phonetically of Charamella's name, who he believes is the whistleblower. He says further, Charamella, pronounced Char-a-mel-a, left his National Security Council posting in the White House West Wing in mid-2017. Again, he believes this is the whistleblower, amid concerns about negative leaks to the media. He has since returned to CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia. Leave that up for a sec, if you don't mind. Why would Paul Sperry, who has impeccable sources, has been all over Spygate from day one, has broke some tremendous news? Joe, have you seen this often? I said to Paula this morning when I kind of hinted at her where we make...
Charlie. So there is this guy, Charlie, that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page allude to, okay? So in April this year, Senators Grassley and Johnson sent a letter to Attorney General Barr asking him for any information on the following, or perhaps this was their way of encouraging him to look into something. What they specifically asked about was related to some text messages from Strzok and Page referring to a CIA guy in the White House. During your April 10th, 2017 testimony before a Senate Appropriations Subcommittee, you stated that you're looking into the genesis and conduct of intelligence activities directed at the Trump campaign during 2016. You further stated that spying did occur and that you believe it's your obligation to look into the question of whether surveillance activities by the FBI or other intelligence agencies were adequately predicated. We share your concerns about these activities, and we are troubled by the apparent unauthorized disclosures of surveillance efforts and other classified information during the same time period. First, in our course of our oversight work, we have reviewed certain text messages that may show potential attempts by the FBI to conduct surveillance of President-elect Trump's transition team. In the text messages exchanged between Strzok and Page, the two discussed the possibility of developing a potential relationships at a November 2016 FBI briefing for presidential transition team staff. Specifically, it appears they discussed sending the CI guy to assess an unnamed person's demeanor, but were concerned because it might be unusual for him to attend. A few weeks after the presidential election, Strzok and Page discussed the logistics of the briefing. Next, Grassley and Johnson provide the exact text messages they wanted Barr to look into. The text message from Peter Strzok says, "Do we want Joe to go with Eviana instead of Charlie for a variety of reasons? Page is not sure. Would it be unusual to show up again? Maybe from another..." So do you understand what's happening? Do we want to send this person in to spy? Or should we send this person to spy? Would it be weird for them to show up at the White House thing? Right. Or can't they just show up?
And the question is this whistleblower, Charamella, Charlie in the Peter Strzok, Lisa Page
and obviously
texts.
Charlie is in on them. And should Charlie be grooming a person in the White House to be an guy? Like, this is spying.
It is. Of course it is. Absolutely. And we've known, actually... we've been talking about it probably, I want to say, within the first 3 or 4 months of President Trump's presidential...
And why isn't Strzok and Page required to just tell people who Charlie is, and why can't they just bring Charlie in?
I know. Exactly. They would, because they would probably make up somebody and have some liar come. But what I was going to say is, we've known that there has been at least one, and probably multiple spies in the Trump administration since he took office. And so I think this is actually good news for Trump, because it's kind of like when you watch a movie and it's like, who's the spy?
So here's again, a footnote at the bottom of Grassley and Johnson memo says, at this time it is unknown who Charlie is. Or on the beginning of the next page of their memo, Grassley and Johnson share some more text from Strzok and Page referring to the CI guy, again, in the White House. Or he's the CI guy. Same might make sense. He can assess if there are any news or any different demeanor. If Katie's husband is there, he can see if there are people we can develop for potential relationships. Should I ask Andrew McCabe about it, or Bill want to reach out for Andy? I told him I'm sure we could ask you to make the swap if we thought it was smart. It's not until Monday or so. Bill can always discuss with him tomorrow. The nature of these communications and the precise purpose of any attempts to develop a relationship with Trump or Pence transition team staff are not immediately clear. Were these efforts done to gain better communication between the respective parties, or were the briefings used as intelligence gathering operations, blah, blah, blah? Grassley and Johnson asked Barr some shocking questions. The nature of these communications and the precise purpose of any attempts to develop a relationship with the Trump-Pence transition team are not me. Oh yeah, I think I just read that. So Strong and Page in their text were likely referring to Andrew McCabe and Bill Priestap for the footnotes on this page. Finally, Grassley and Johnson discussed the leaks coming from the FBI and the Mueller gang and how Barr should look at those as well. Who is Charlie in the Trump White House? So again, Trump, take our advice. Fire everybody in your White House. Every staff member, just fire them all and rehire mega people who have been on your team for the past 3 years.
Okay, so
everyone, because we just heard that Pence's chief of staff's wife worked for Peter Strzok.
What?
So there, she's listening, and Pence's chief of staff was the source for the leak.
We talked about that like a couple months ago. It was a possibility. My question is, after you've read all that and those text messages, is I understand that they're saying it's not clear why Peter Strzok and Lisa Page wanted
just being nice
to insert.
Grassley and
Hang
Johnson.
on, no, but it doesn't matter because why? Even if it,
why is the FBI grooming anybody?
Exactly. I mean, I feel like they should be in jail. Just because
like
of
that?
no, I mean there is that to me is proof positive to go and put them in handcuffs. Those text messages alone.
You shouldn't be allowed to.
You should not be, regardless of
Here's
what
the
your
thing.
motivations are.
You can't get
You
near
don't get
a
to groom
president.
and put people that you want in. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Here's the thing. If you're trying to go after a president of the United States, you should be in jail. Because that's treason. That's treason. You have to be in jail. That's a crime.
So that's why I'm just kind of like, I don't understand how these people are walking free right now.
Former corrupt CIA director John
McLaughlin.
Read that again.
McLaughlin. That's how you pronounce that. Laughlin.
You said
McLaughlin. No, it's John McLaughlin. That's how you'd say that. McLaughlin.
Okay.
Somebody else correct me on that. It's McLaughlin.
We'll see. Anyways, he is he says thank God for the deep state. So former CIA director says
McLaughlin.
With John Brennan here, says thank God for the deep state.
You have to agree that now the impeachment inquiry is underway, sparked by a complaint from someone within the intelligence community. It feeds the president's concern and often used term about a deep state being there to take him out.
Thank God for the deep state. I mean, I think, everyone here has seen this progression of diplomats and intelligence officers and White House people trooping up to Capitol Hill right now and saying, these are people who are doing their duty, who are responding to a higher call. It doesn't, I guess it doesn't, well, think about it for a minute. With all of the people who knew what was going on here, it took an intelligence officer to step forward and say something about it.
Thank God for the deep state. These people are not.
That's what I'm saying, and that, it's actually a really good thing. And they've gotten, they're not trying to be careful anymore. And so that they're showing their hands, they're making all of these mistakes. And Storm Bear says I pronounced it correctly.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're starting to see the other side of the story today.
You have said for some time you thought Nancy Pelosi should take a vote. Well, they are. It may not be the vote on impeachment ultimately. Perhaps that comes later in November, but it is a vote of sorts on the resolution. So in that sense, aren't you getting your way today?
Well, we're not getting our way today because it's not a fair process. Despite what my Democrat colleagues are talking about, this is not a fair process. It allows Adam Schiff to once again control everything that's going on. If we're talking about a fair, open, transparent process, let's make sure that we actually have due process. Let's hear from some of the allegations of the whistleblower. And why is that important? Because some of the things that the whistleblower has alleged in their complaint has been directly contradicted by not one, not two, but multiple witnesses behind closed doors. So it's time that we allow the truth to come out. When we do, we will find that the President of the United States did not and I would emphasize, did not commit any impeachable offense.
So you're making the case that the thread of connection through all these stories is not there?
Well, here's one. We do know one fact, that the aid was held up. But we also know that the aid was released, and when it was not released as a condition of anything that the Ukrainians had to deliver. And so you can't have a leverage point if there was not a deliverable on the backside. So the president is innocent of that, regardless of all the rhetoric that you're hearing from Capitol Hill.
Well, Mike McCall was with us yesterday. He said the following, Sarah. He says, I think they, meaning Adam Schiff and the whistleblower, were complicit in working together to come forward with this complaint and start the entire impeachment inquiry. What does he mean by that? Can that be proven?
Well, certainly we can tell by some of the defensive postures that we get within the deposition. Whenever we start to ask questions.
Okay, yeah. But you got to hand it to the Democrats. They stick together.
So here's what I want to know. How is it that with their little whistleblowers, there were what, 20, 25 people that heard this phone call? How do they think they're going to get away with this when we already have at least one person coming out and saying, no, there was nothing nefarious in that phone call? So we love you guys. Yes. God loves you. God bless. And have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And I hope you're having better weather than we had for 2 days ago. And happy All Saints Day. Happy Reformation Day from yesterday. And so we're kicking off the first 2 months of Christmas. Everyone has decided that Christmas is going to be 2 months long this year. I'm giving the Pilgrims their full month. Starting today through the 28th, Thanksgiving's on the 28th this month. The Pilgrims get the whole month. Other people are giving it all to Christmas. So, I don't know. It's whatever it is, but whatever. Some 93.3 radio station launched their Christmas music, I think, today.
What?
Just serving me.
That's too early.
It was way too early. So, but Maia does Christmas music this early. She's very excited. Air One does theirs.
What?
Yeah. Not Air One. Like they do like a side thing there. So, yeah, I know. Thanksgiving. Okay, guys, we're really gonna end. This is our 800th.
I wanted to tell you that after Halloween, I felt like I told Michelle the day of Halloween. Just wait till tomorrow. It's all gonna shift. So,
get it? Shift. That could be prophetic. Be real. All right, you guys. God bless. I was cold.